What's up guys, it's Multiplier, and today I guess we're looking at marketing strategy. I get a lot of messages from people saying, how do I get more SoundCloud followers? How do I get more Facebook likes? How do you get all your followers, etc, etc. So I know you guys really kind of care about this stuff, so what I thought I'd do is do a video just kind of spelling it out in really simple terms, exactly what you need to do to kind of get more fans. Now, while I will give you a few specific tips and tricks kind of towards the end, the general idea is a really kind of conceptual one. There's no list of instructions giving you explicit things, exactly what you need to do that will kind of help you get more fans, because it's a really kind of broad conceptual thing. It's like saying, how do I write a good book? There's no list of things you have to do to write a good book. There's just a bunch of general ideas. So it's the same when you're kind of doing your marketing strategy. So you have to kind of, there's a few kind of prerequisites and there's a few kind of general approaches, but pretty much you do have to come up with it by yourself. 8-minute video or however long this is won't give you, well, it won't do all the work for you basically. You still have to devise a good strategy and do it all yourself. So how do we get new fans? Right, let's get into it. First step is make sure your content is sufficiently good. Now the keyword here is sufficiently. The content doesn't have to be the best content in the world. In fact, it doesn't have to be particularly amazing, but it does have to be good enough so that when people actually do listen to your work and they do find out about you, they get kind of moved into the realm of being your fan. So you need to make sure your content's good enough. That's step one. I do get a fair few tracks, I won't name names, from people who have only been producing a month or two. I tell you what, no one can make a good track in a month or two. I don't care who you are. So work on getting your content good enough and then worry about getting new fans and marketing yourself and sending your music out and all that kind of good stuff. So you always want to keep getting better, but yeah, once you hit that sufficiently good level, then you can start kind of marketing yourself. And then you basically want to come up with a strategy. Now, I put this as a separate step just to basically emphasize the fact that you want to sit down and think it through and actually even write it down if you need to. Just come up with a strategy, just so you're not kind of aimlessly doing things and you can see in kind of like a logical, structured way your progress and just kind of refer back to it, and just so you can really have a good game plan for moving forward. I tell you what, all the best producers I've spoken to have goals, they have strategies. Even if kind of having a goal and having a strategy and working hard, all that kind of stuff doesn't fit in with their brand image, behind the scenes they're doing all this stuff. Or if not, they've got a manager that's doing all this stuff, which is basically the same thing. So yeah, make sure you are actually thinking things through and coming up with a strategy. Now the super key step here, the one that I think is definitely the key step that most people ignore, is thinking it through logically. How would a potential fan find out about you? Now that sounds super simple, right? And it really is simple, but it's the one thing most people completely ignore. Like I'll be kind of brainstorming with a lot of producers that are trying to move to the next level. They're coming up with a lot of cool tracks and stuff, but they're really just not getting many people finding out about them, not many people following them. And when I ask them kind of, it's pretty much the first thing I ask them, like, what strategies do you have for people to find out about you? They don't really have one. Like they might say they occasionally send a track to 1 or 2 DJs they know. Maybe they'll send it out to a few blogs, but fundamentally that won't work. You have to think things through logically. Like if there's a fan, could be in the other side of the world, how are they going to find out about your track? And you have to be completely kind of rational and logical. Would this actually happen? Like using the strategies you've developed, will it actually happen that they become a fan? Sounds simple, but I tell you what, that's the one step that most people don't do. And then after you've got your kind of strategy in place and you're happy with it, you just got to keep plugging away at it. So keep working and working, then work some more, and then do more work, and then still don't expect it to happen anytime soon. There's no shortcuts to this. You do have to just keep smashing it all day long, every day. I don't take days off. I don't play video games, and that's how I manage to get as much done as I do. I'm not saying you don't need to take days off, or you can still play video games. I know a lot of people that do, but fundamentally, there's no shortcut. Anyone who's can at least claim to be successful in whatever they're doing takes a lot of work, and there is no shortcut. So do make sure you keep plugging away, and it won't happen soon. So you may have a great strategy, and 4 months later, it may not look like you're getting much further, but it still may be a good strategy. It just takes a lot longer than that, especially if your content is just around that sort of borderline of being sufficiently good. Obviously, the better content you have, the easier this all is. That should go without saying. So yeah, a few little kind of really specific tips, just because a lot of this is pretty general. Now, when we're talking about kind of DJs and producers, there's a few different approaches you can use to kind of gain new fans. I mean, I'm right now doing one of them, my whole YouTube channel. I do my YouTube channel for a lot of reasons, but one of them should be kind of obvious. It gets people listening to my stuff. It gets people following the Multiply brand, the Multiply, whatever you want to call it. And because basically what people do is they go onto YouTube, they type in, how do I sound like Skrillex? Or how does Massive work? Or whatever else it is. So they are kind of actively searching for those tutorials. And then because my tutorials are basically searchable, so if you search for, I don't know, how to use Ableton, you're probably going to see one of my videos. That means that there's a logical way that a new fan could then find out about what they do. So they'd type in, how do I use Ableton? They'd see one of my videos, maybe not even come back to it for another month. Go on YouTube, do the same again, see another one of my videos, see a few more. Before they know it, they've heard of Multiplier, they're curious, they might click a few of the links in the description below, and they might find out about my stuff that way. So there's a logical process that people can find out about my stuff, and I've got enough statistical kind of evidence to show that it is an approach that's working, it's working really well. So it's not the way that you have to do it, but again, this is just, there are lots of strategies and everyone's different. This is just one strategy that's working for me. Now, there are lots of other ways. The more traditional way of doing this is you basically attract the interest of like an influential label or an influential artist. And now there's a big step to get to that stage, because for a start, if you just send a demo to Owsler, they're not going to listen. So fundamentally, if you want to get kind of the best DJs in the world or the best labels kind of signing your stuff, which would be a process for gaining new fans, because naturally if, like say, Owsler signs your track, they post it on Owsler page, they release it, they have such a big following that people are going to find out about you. But there's all that middle ground up to there as well that you also have to think through. So if you want to say release on Owsler, you have to think, right, how am I going to release on Owsler? Simply sending them a demo, you can think that they listen all you want, they're not going to listen. I've got proof of it. They just simply don't have time. I mean, I barely have enough time to listen to demos, and I get comparatively no demos. I only get maybe 1 or 2 a day, and it's hard for me to get through. So I tell you what, Owsler do not have time to listen to all their demos. So how do you get signed to Owsler? Well, you have to just think it through and think what various options are there. And the most likely one is some sort of networking. You got to make sure your content is really good in that particular case, but then you got to pretty much network your way into a position so that you can get the right people listening to it. So it's not just as simple as going, right, let's just get my track signed by a label, and that'll be a way of getting new fans. You've got to think about the getting signed to a label bit first. So you have to just kind of break it down and just think logically, is it logical that this particular step will happen? Sounds simple, but you know what? Most people don't think it through. Another way is kind of influential blogs. Similar process whereby, granted, a lot more blogs will listen to demos than big labels, but a lot of the big blogs won't listen to demos either because they just get sent too many. So another way might be build up a lot of connections, kind of personal connections or business connections with a lot of the kind of big influential blogs, and just try and get your music onto the blogs that way. And that way, when they post it on the blogs, people listen, and that would be a way for people to find out about you. So you have to kind of really, really think it through and don't miss out any steps. And be specific when you're actually coming up with your strategy. So the general strategy is general, but your actual steps in your strategy have to be really specific. Not just, your strategy can't just be send tracks to labels, because that's not specific. It's not a particular label, and that's just, yes, it's not specific enough. So you have to really make sure you're thinking things through and saying, right, is this actually a possible step right now? Because I could make up a strategy going, yeah, I'm going to send it to deadmau5, I'm going to send it to Skrillex. I've got no way of sending it to deadmau5 or Skrillex. I've got kind of ways I could do, but it wouldn't just be as simple as sending it to deadmau5, sending it to Skrillex. You'd have to find another way around to do that thing. So really do think it through and break it down. You could also do straight up advertising. It's what a lot of the PR firms do. It's what the big artists do to get, one of the ways the big artists use to get new fans. So you could just do straight up advertising on Facebook, YouTube, Google AdSense for all I care. But fundamentally, you could do that if you like. Another way, since I might as well give you lots of tips here, otherwise you'll just bitch at me for being too general, even though you should be doing all this work yourself. Another way could be do remixes with artists at a similar or higher level than you. Or even just yeah, providing they've got the person you're doing kind of a remix for or a collaboration with has kind of a sufficiently good fan base. If you do that work with them, then when they post that track, then a fan might see your name through that. So there's lots of different ways of doing it. Some of them are a bit more kind of weird and different. Stuff like this YouTube channel, there's a bit more kind of non-standard, but there are lots of non-standard ways of doing it. I mean, as much as you may hate the dude, DJ Paulie D, he gets a lot of people loving what he's doing, and a lot of people love his sets just through that Jersey Shore TV program. I can't imagine many of you are going to go ahead and use that as your strategy, but that is a perfectly valid strategy. His DJ Paulie D's goal was, right, I want to DJ bigger gigs. I'm good at DJing, but I've kind of plateaued at the kind of the city level. How do I get bigger? Well, if I go on Jersey Shore, then the celebrity thing will allow me to get booked for bigger gigs, and he gets booked for huge gigs, and people do, as much as you may hate what he does, his fans love what he does, so respect to him, whatever. I wouldn't go see him myself, but fair dues to the dude. And yeah, it's just a case of figuring out whatever way works for you, really. And since this has been 11 minutes, why not give you a little bonus tip? Again, this will sound super simple, but it's something that even big businesses just miss all the time. And it's like, how can you not know this? Right. So if you want someone to do something, e.g., a classic example is you want someone to like your page, you've got to give them a reason to. Sounds simple, right? But I tell you what, that's the one thing pretty much everyone completely ignores. So if you're doing a Facebook advert, or I don't know, you want someone to like your page. So if I wanted to say, get you to like my Facebook page, now I may just stick a link in the description below with my Facebook, and some of you may just do it out of your own interest. Some people do, but not many people do. So what I do is, on some of my videos, I have a link that says, if you want to get 1,400 of my massive presets, click this link and you can get them for free. So they click the link and then they have to like my Facebook page to get those presets. So it's giving them a reason to like my page because they want something in return. Sounds logical. It's tried and tested. It's what all the artists are doing now, just because it's standard. This stuff should be obvious, but if you don't think it through, it's not obvious. But if you think it through, it should be obvious, right? Give someone a reason to do something and they're more likely to do it. This doesn't have to just be for liking Facebook pages. This could be if you want someone to buy your track, got to give them a reason to. Now, there are lots of reasons why someone may buy a track. They may just really like it, or they may just want to get it normally because they really like it. So in that case, the reason would be you got to make your track good enough. So pretty much with whatever you want anyone to do, if you give them a reason to do it, they're more likely to do so. So yeah, that's it. How to get new fans. And hopefully this hasn't been too long, but hopefully you picked up a few things. If not, well, you should have done, because it's all simple stuff. Make sure your content's good. Come up with a strategy. Think it through. How would someone find out about you? Keep working at it. And yeah, that's all there is to it. It's not rocket science. Standard business just applied to the world of DJs and music shit. Cool stuff. I've been Multiplier. It's been How to Get New Fans. Hope you enjoyed.